This is episode 100. 100 episodes of Waterproof Records. I cannot believe it. For those of you who have been there with me since the beginning all the way to now, thank you. And for those of you who are tuning in because you saw who my guest was, welcome. This is my show about music and bands that I love. Sometimes I have guests. Other times I'm just talking to you about an album and doing a deep dive. But today, yes, today, because it's 100, it was time to bring in a guest. And I am so happy that my first official guest in the Waterproof Records studio is this person, Aaron Wills, aka Peanut from 311. Yes, the legendary band 311 from Nebraska, who have toured the world. They have their own cruise ship. They have this amazing following, and people who love 311 spend and devote their entire lives to following this band. And I was so excited when I connected with Peanut, and when I asked him to come on the show and he said yes, I was like, this is gonna be awesome. So let's get into it. Let's do the theme song, and then I'll do a little intro, and then we'll talk to Peanut. Does that sound good? So it's time to talk to Peanut from 311. Let's go.
Things are gonna change. I can feel it.
If this gonna be that kind of party, I'm gonna...
Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records with Jacob Gibbons.
Okay, I'm excited. You're excited. We're about to get to it, but I want to tell you about distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. Get yourself 30% off. That's my private link. Well, I guess it's not private. It's public. I'm sharing it with you now. But if you use that link, you can save yourself 30% off. distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. You upload your music, save that 30%, and then it goes on every streamer you can dream of. Get your art, get your music, get out there in the world and do it. Okay. I moved quick. We did the theme song, and then I did the DistroKid just because I'm so excited. I am so excited. So let's welcome Peanut. Peanut. Aaron Wills. 311 is in my studio.
What a great place.
Thank you so much.
I love what you've done with it.
Thank you. What I'm so excited to tell you, which you were asking me before we were rolling, and I was like, I don't want to waste this. You are my first in this studio guest. And this is episode 100.
Oh, wow.
So it's a celebration.
Oh, wow.
It's
Nice.
a celebration.
Fantastic.
Up until this point, when I started the show, it was, anytime I had a guest, it was virtual, like we learned to do during COVID, right? That way of doing things.
Well, you had to.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I just recently started being like, I'd really like to, I live in Los Angeles. I have access to people that I think would be willing to come in. And so I started renting a space, and then that very quickly becomes not manageable to constantly be booking something by hour and scheduling, and then the conflicts and whatnot. So I was like, as soon as I moved here, I worked it out with my wife. I was like, I think we got to convert this space into something that I can use. And I just finished it to receive a guest.
Cool. Looks great. Got my approval.
Yay!
Yeah, mom's was a real estate agent. My brother's an architect, so
yeah,
I got a little eye for those things.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
I think it gives me some kind of license in that world.
I love it.
Yeah, look, it's great. It's very comfortable.
Yeah,
I can't wait to talk.
Yeah, we've only had one other in-person meeting, and I believe that was at K-Rock's Almost Acoustic Christmas, right?
Which I totally remember.
Yeah. You had a fuller beard.
Yeah,
you had a Christmas beard.
I actually just got rid of it after 311 day because it was getting too hot.
Yeah,
I had the voice in my head and told me to get it off my face.
Yeah, I mean, mine ebbs and flows. I usually have either a nice big bulky beard or trim it down, but as the heat rolls in, get rid of it.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, I mean, I'm just over the moon that you agreed to come on the show. And I'm also just happy that we got a chance to connect through messages and through social media. And, my life has changed completely because of it. And it's led me to people that I have been listening to and inspired by since I was a kid. And so to have you here with me right now is just such an honor.
Well, it's super cool. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. You want to talk to the people that care the most.
Yeah.
And your videos and your persona just glow in that way where you appreciate it on a level that's kind of hard to describe. The way that you edit and use storytelling and, reflect different personalities, even from your own, whatever face, it tells a lot, and it shows a lot that the music that was like original, like the no sellout, you've got to come original kind of thing.
Yes.
I think really hits you hard. And when it's like you're like, what, God, what are you listening to? You're just like, I'm listening to Mazzy Star, right? And you're like, oh my God, and everyone can kind of have that moment.
Yeah.
It's a great format, and it's endearing, and I wouldn't be anywhere else right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Honestly, it's such a pleasure. And, I think my introduction to 311 was probably like most in the 90s. If you lived, I grew up in Oklahoma, Tulsa.
Uh-huh.
And so we all get the self-titled third album in 95, Blue.
Right.
I bought it, Down was on the radio, and I was like, this is really different than what we were experiencing at the time, because it was like, it had been years of grunge, and then they'd been pushing, this is what you guys are supposed to listen to. And then you had outliers coming along the way to really challenge what you could do. And you were definitely one of those.
Right. Yeah, it was cool to know that we were doing something different. We were playing our favorite music.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what we were trying to do. And that's what we were doing no matter what. I think what we were trying to do is not sound so much like our influences. And I think when we came together and we listened to each other, all those influences from everywhere really came into a unique sauce, gel, froth, if you will. And we knew it was working for us and had so much fun on stage.
Totally.
That I think like your performances, you get swept up in it. You can't, if you've got a beating heart and you give a shit about music, you're going to have a great time at our show, and that's something that Capricorn told us in our first meetings, was like, don't even really worry about radio, maybe. Like radio, sure, but that's not, you're not going to be a radio band. That was kind of it. Like you're a road band, you're a show band, and we were like, yeah, hell yeah,
And that you are,
and that's what we want to do. And they're like, you're going to do that for your career, and that's you're going to be your stability. And I'm like, I'm like 17, 18. I'm like, this sounds great.
Yeah.
Like I think we found the right people to support us in this mission that, is just like, take it to the people, prove it. The Parliament Funkadelic thing, like take it to the stage, right? If you can do it on stage, perhaps in New York, you can do anything, and then the confidence grows. You'll have good shows, you'll have bad shows, but you're going to just be moving on to the next one. It's, whatever. It's like sports. You can't worry about the last play. You got to be in the moment and the song that you're playing. Yeah. And not worry about what happened the night before, or that last riff, and just keep moving. And with the same group of guys for 36 years, it's great to go through all those ups and downs together. That's the victory lap.
That's amazing.
Realizing how much we've been through.
It is remarkable how long you guys have been together, and all the original, essentially since the beginning, despite a few things and in those early stages in the late 80s into the 90s.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
And not to ever bypass those as monumental pieces of our growth. We're Jimi Hendrix and all the West Side people. Yeah. Who will remain nameless.
Yeah.
But it's cool, like if you can do it, to have a long-term relationship, just even in general with anybody, right. But, and even, with music, get it all the way esoteric, but, you learn so much about yourself in those relationships. Yeah. You can't hide all the way, you can hide if you keep jumping relationships. You know what I mean? If you're like some studio relationship, guy, some hired gun for love. Yes. We're getting weird. It's just, you could hide in that. And I like the honesty that comes from being in a long-term relationship. Going on the 25th anniversary of being married in May.
That's amazing. I too have been married for 25 years.
Amazing.
So amazing.
And two kids.
Yeah,
right?
2 kids.
So
we
cool.
both have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that. I wanted to say, given the position I'm in and you're in as well, even more so, there's always the comment when you have kids, people go, okay, obviously they're probably big into music, and do they like your music? And so I'm curious to hear what your journey has been like as a father and in music with your kids.
Oh, it's been great. The whole thing, just in general, like just to be able to see them, get into it. Music's been a part of their lives since before they were born, of course, as it is for all of us,
Right.
but really intentionally, like we're like, the house is going to be full of music, like spoken, unspoken, probably a little bit of both, but they did a little piano when they were kids, which they didn't really take to, but I still think helps them now as they're really getting into music. Falcon, my 15-year-old's playing guitar a lot. He's picking up the bass every once in a while, and is playing in a couple different like garage bands in school, and it's so cool. It's so great. He actually did Beautiful Disaster a couple weeks ago out at the Paseo in
Cool.
Colorado. Yeah. It sounded good. I'm like, dude, you got to practice that harmony part. You can't train wreck that harmony part. And I think he like flubbed one note. It's so funny.
That's my favorite part of that song.
But got all the way through it too. Got up on stage and did it. It's the filmmaker thing. Like if you make, or a songwriter, if you write a song or you make a film, I will support, the effort, because I know how much it takes to do it. Have a good podcast,
Right.
just all those things. Like you did it, right? And now you can build on that and see where it takes you, and it can, it can last or it won't. And then my 12-year-old Clay is I think he's on the trampoline right now. I'm like 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
With friends, but they were upstairs in my studio. On the microphone, he's writing beats and inviting friends over to freestyle on the mic.
I love
He's
it.
getting great stuff.
It's
so cool. He's got a Waffle House song that's dope.
It's a banger.
I'm trying to massage it in certain directions.
Give it a little producing help,
Make it a little longer because it's so good.
Yeah.
Like it just stops. I'm like, oh man,
Just
that's
a little
good,
bit.
right? Come on, Waffle House. But yeah, it's great having creative people in the house. My wife's doing watercolors now, and I was in the Angeles forest yesterday with Clay, and we found these, the leaves that all they have is like the veins in them. All the green is gone, so it's just like lace.
Oh,
I
cool.
brought her a couple of those, and she like poured paint through them and working. I was like, oh, this is great. So yeah, creativity in the house, music especially, is nothing like it. Gets you through the ups and downs. Helps you articulate those ups and downs. Like whatever, like we were saying, like Mazzy Star and just all those first imprints in the 90s and 80s as a MTV kid. Like, what is going on? Like,
Totally.
where are all these influences coming from? And you hear in interviews from musicians, and they're reading books, and they're watching movies, and they're traveling, and they're working with other artists and stuff like that. It's just like, I'm like, Iggy Pop and David Bowie knew each other? I'm like, what's going on?
I know.
It's so crazy.
You growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what's so interesting is that for those of us who grew up, like some kids will have, they're near a big city and they have access to all the clubs, the music, the bands, but some of us are kind of marooned out there in the middle of nowhere or in towns that don't have access. And MTV for us was our way of connecting with that world. And so they fed you the thing. And the only way you could get what was not necessarily mainstream was stay up late.
Right.
Watch after hours. Then you'll get something weird and unusual or heavy.
Headbanger
Ball with Ricky Rackman.
120 minutes. Right? Oh, so great. Yeah.
So great.
It's amazing. But even in the daytime, it'd be like, they'd sneak some at least some hard rock, maybe not to all the way to heavy metal, but
right. Something
next
harder.
to pop and stuff like it was cool because it did seem like the VJs were making these choices, and the choices they were making were really eclectic.
Yeah.
Because everyone was making a video, and why not?
Yeah.
Right. Let's hear the Meat Puppets next to Sonic Youth.
Totally.
Right. And then they're going to go out on tour. Right. And this is like, you never know. Coming here. I was listening to Kim Gordon's solo stuff.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It just crossed my path today. Couldn't believe it. Played the whole album. Play Me.
Been after it for so long, and she's still cranking out amazing music.
What a voice!
Right? What a voice!
What a cool voice. The producer, writer, music situation I don't know anything about, but that project is really interesting. Play Me by Kim Gordon.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Highly suggest.
Yeah. Well, going back to, since we're kind of talking about childhood and whatnot, I always ask my guests this term waterproof record. It's just a name that came from my son when he was 3. It's this idea of, an album that kind of changed your DNA, so to speak. You're growing up, you're a kid, you're primarily listening to what your parents have on, and then you make that discovery and you're like, I'll never be the same again. So for you, do you have one you could share?
I mean, I could share a few.
Please do.
I kind of narrowed it down to 3,
okay,
if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
Or we'll make it make some kind of
that
sense.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah,
I have guests that I need to pick a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you change after the music changes. What we're constantly changing. There's new music's going to surprise you. It might blow your hair back. You never know.
Yeah.
The first one that really came to me is as far as, because you gave me a heads up, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, no problem.
Although I think I'd be fine at the same time, but I wouldn't come up with the right answers.
Like to give people that time.
Yes, that's smart. A little research, a little self-research, a little self-reflection. But Louder Than Bombs by the Smiths really changed me because I was such a heavy metal kid.
Got it.
And that, the everything, the music, the bass playing, especially, definitely, how melodic and dark, at the same time, so English.
Yeah, English.
I think it just kind of hit me with that, being marooned in the Midwest, to have something that kind of hits your DNA, mm-hmm, and does like a self-reflection kind of thing in that as a kid. You're like, wow, this is it's so vulnerable. Like, wow, what's he like? Right. Wow. Yes. Like, this is voyeuristic to a point, and hilarious. Like the inner dialogue of a young Morrissey. I bet we got the tip of the iceberg. I bet he was cracking himself up all through high school and whatever college he had, and just while they were together in that 6 years or whatever, right?
Right.
God, all that mythology just blows me away, and it like challenged some friendships of mine when I was a kid. Like, as I was, drifting through different little circles of friends, and the Smiths, Depeche Mode, whatever, even the Cult kind of crew, just like what was coming up new for us in the Midwest and rock. It kind of changed who I was hanging out with.
Yeah, definitely.
And how I was playing music, for sure.
Yeah.
And those were kind of the same thing at one point, and it was great. It just helped me find myself.
What age did you pick up the bass?
I started playing at 11.
11?
Yeah.
And had you already been listening to the Smiths, or is this like around the same time?
Well, that was, 84, 85, so they were just getting started. So no, I got into it. I was probably like 14 when I hit them.
That's a better age to be listening to the Smiths.
Yeah, no, it probably would have went over my head.
At
like
11.
Sure, it's great, you know, like whatever, like they made me listen to it. But as a 14-year-old, you're like, "Oh, wow." You know, right? Like, "Oh, I want to not that I wanted to be that honest, but wow, it's amazing he's being that honest, and then it's okay to be that honest. And then, holy shit, I am being that, I am being that honest. He kind of walks you through that. Like, you can be whoever you want. Kind of, that's almost like a mission statement for the Smiths, is like, it's going to be awkward. There's going to be ups and downs, and you can be anybody you want. Yeah. And I loved that about that. And I thought that was so cool. Just stunning.
Yeah. Vulnerable. Yeah. Vulnerable music. And that's the thing, is when you were sharing about your children, and obviously since we're dads, anytime they have art and access to art or expressing themselves, that's the number one thing. I'm finding that my kids are finding their own path in music. Like the Venn diagram has a very short overlap, but all I care about is that they are finding things that they love, that they're finding ways to express themselves.
Yeah.
And it's so important, especially I've got the 17-year-old and the 11-year-old. And so 17, he's pretty much more solidified in who he feels like he is right now. But it's so fascinating to watch them go through these phases of where my son is at 11 and where he'll be at 14, to give the comparison of where you were at 11 with the bass and where you were at 14.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was monumental.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I remember a good bit of it. I remember what it felt like. I remember putting in long hours in the room and playing anything that came up. It kind of leads me to my next, album, which would be Doolittle by Pixies. I mean,
that's one of my favorites.
Just songwriting, just art, art rock.
Yes.
And having it be whatever, like punk rock accessible, right? It wasn't like I had to change to like it. I'm going to like that because the songwriting's so great and everybody in the band is just killing it. So yeah, that always worked. I always liked Frank Black's point of view, Black Francis.
Yeah.
I liked his, I just like the way he thinks, the way he synthesizes reality as a poet and a guitar player. And just, I don't know, you can kind of feel him. You can feel him in the room on headphones. And that's, as a front man, it's been incredible to watch him go up and be solo. And I mean, Teenager of the Year is a masterpiece.
I love that album too.
That album it's no skips except for the single.
Yeah.
It's like the 311 curse. It's like we got all these great songs. Which one are we going to pick? It's like we take a dart and throw it out there. The wrong one. Each time, except in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that worked for me because I was in the room probably playing the Smiths at the same time, but it being American and Boston,
right.
Like I wasn't thinking about it, but it just hit me in that way. Just kind of the straightforward, these kind of shorter songs. I was listening to the Minutemen at the same time, and it was like a refined version of that, which I thought was really cool. Bass up front, short songs. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and I can't wait to hear the next one, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like don't tell me everything.
Right.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
As far as vulnerability and truth speaking and really painting a picture that what's going on with Morrissey, having Frank Black be like Caribou, right? Or or
totally.
Javelina.
You're right.
I'm like, this is
what are we talking about, right?
And it sounds like $1,000,000. And you're in the room with them.
Yeah.
I think the Smiths pulled that off too, just because the producers were so smart, like just to, I don't know, not have it be clinical sounding, but the Pixies were raw, even in the studio.
Definitely.
And that was amazing. Tempo goes up, tempo goes down, there's feedback.
Yeah.
They're talking away from the mic.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
I said, you fucking die or whatever they do on Surfer Roads. Where that's the first time I think I even remembered experiencing that, where the artists are in a room and they're just having a conversation before the take. Like I was a little kid and I was like, what's going on? I'm allowed to see behind the curtain. Something's going on, you know? But Doolittle, amazing. Abrasive, and also quiet in moments. I mean, they really, whereas I would not know this, but they really were that quiet, loud, like the documentary. It was that, and that's always been
archetype.
One of my favorite dynamics in music is this kind of being lulled in. It's quiet, and then you get blown away. I mean, I do it in so many of my videos.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's the emotional effect of it. It's knowing, I don't know, knowing dynamics. And really doing it extremely, like taking it as far as you can, within whatever limits. Yeah. And then, it's got to be, I wanted to be harder rocking, but I just really thought about it, like driving to school, driving to high school, either with my brother or me. And those first two were kind of me and my brother, but this last one was me after my brother was 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
and was my musical teacher. Still is.
I have an older brother, 2.5 years older. We are
That's so
literally
funny.
companions.
So funny. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah. He's in Lincoln, and he listens to their local station out there. The call letters are going to escape me. WMU, something like
We'll
that.
just dub it in.
Something in there.
Just move your mouth.
Yes, thank
and
you.
we'll just dub it in.
Yes. He gives me like the playlist every night. Last night they were doing like gospel music, and he's like, listen to this bass line. It's just so cool. It's
so
so fun.
great.
But yeah, so he went to school, and I had to kind of figure things out on my own. And hip hop was coming in to form with, of course, Public Enemy and
Right.
all the East Coast stuff that laid the foundation, but it didn't really click with me until the West Coast stuff came about for whatever reason, and NWA and I guess Dre later on, but that was so commercial. I didn't really I wasn't driven towards it. But what Cypress Hill was doing for me, that first album, the self-titled album, was such a game changer for me that'll be my third record. That's what I'm mentioning.
Cypress Hill?
Yeah. Just amazing, like so unique. The perfect epitome of come original and no sellout. Like wow. And here's these people that have these stories to tell that, again, like I don't know if I should be hearing this. Like, are they in a room together? Do they know they're recording? Because it could be like just like a back row of a car freestyle kind of thing, and they're getting away with saying incredibly, whatever divisive, dangerous, hilarious things, and cannabis is important and.
Agreed.
And to see them have success, right?
Yeah.
To see them go from the hoodies in the street, first videos, how I could kill a man, how I could just kill a man.
Yeah.
And then go to Insane in the Membrane, and like I saw it as a rock band, like and they are a rock band.
Yeah,
right.
I can see that.
They fucking rock.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. That's as long as it takes. And what they learned from playing shows with the Beastie Boys and Rage, because that'll fucking take you to college.
Totally.
In an evening.
Yeah.
Was that they were probably even better than they knew they were.
Yeah.
Right. They're with Muggs and Be Real and Bobo, of course, and Sendog. It's just like they came out as a fully understood mission statement and crew. It sounded like they've been together for a while, but it got even better,
Yeah.
and I think the success that chased them was really deserved because of all the hard work that they put in. You can see the difference.
Yeah. And
And that blew me away too. Just like, okay, like I have a new favorite band. Wow. Like I'd be scared to be with these guys. I think it was how people described the Ramones when they first came out. It's like, oh wow, like I want to hang out with those guys, but I think, I don't know if that's going to be safe or not. Right. Because they were crazy, but I love the danger aspect. And I don't think the Smiths or the Pixies
Totally.
really had that.
No.
And that's what I was wanting to like bring in, that rock factor. And I think what I was trying to bring in was like that danger,
Right.
The danger in music and the improv and what is this culture that it's calling me, and am I being invited to understand something? Can I take this in a way that I understand it in a authentic way? How can I appreciate this, as a guy that's removed from it? And, I just listened to it over and over and over again. And eventually met all the guys. We've done shows. I love talking to them about how much they mean to me. And, Be Real's done the same, as far as like being like, man, what you guys have done is amazing. I don't know if he's a fan or not. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But he knows, like he can see our hard work.
Right.
And he's like, he's like, you guys are fucking legends. And to see someone that I respect so much on lots of levels, appreciate me for the hard work and the band, of course. It was really a cool, 360 moment.
That's,
and, fun to talk about.
Those are great choices. And the only thing that surprises me, I mean, obviously you have a great taste in music, but you're a phenomenal bass player. And so oftentimes your mind...
thanks.
Yeah.
But I know where you're going with it. That was my David Bowie Frozen moment. Yeah.
You froze. Yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm assuming that one of the three is going to be standout bass playing.
And I switched out either the Smiths or the Pixies with the Chili Peppers Uplift Mofo Party Plan.
There you go.
Which should be on there, so we can do four records.
We're going to do 4.
Because it absolutely changed my life.
Yeah.
And Flea is, of course, he changed me as a player more than anybody else.
For sure.
So yeah, to reflect on my own, like what did I want to play from listening to those songs. And, listening to the Chili Peppers probably longer than any of those other bands, honestly, because I was listening to them right around 11 and Freaky Styley, which I believe was like 85.
Right.
And produced by George Clinton. And what are these guys wearing on the cover? And they're all named Homeboy or Holmes or something. It's like, so great. The humor, right?
Yeah.
So humor. Danger, humor, vulnerability, and art. And be our mixture and be our cake we're mixing.
Yeah.
And it would be not as complete a set without mentioning, heavy funk, and loud bass playing and all the things that Flea brings to the table, great songwriting, all that presence on stage. It was the first show I saw live was the Chili Peppers in '89, about 5 months after Hillel died.
Really?
And Frusciante was 18.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he played his ass off.
Yeah.
And he took his pants off.
Of course.
Yes.
That's the Chili Pepper way.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a snowstorm because it was the winter in the Midwest, and I got horse collared out 3/4 of the way through the show, but I had friends there that my friend Tim Salanitro had a hat that he threw on stage. He lost it and it got thrown on stage, and Anthony grabbed it, put it on his head, and threw it out, and he caught it. That's how small the place was. It was a 500-seat place.
Amazing.
Called the Ranch Bowl in Omaha, which isn't around anymore. It's a fucking Walmart.
Aww.
It's a Walmart. Speaking of Midwest tragedies.
Take away these iconic places where Anthony Kiedis threw a hat out.
Man, I think the Chili Peppers did. I think before this tour, they did some interview there where they were bowling, and me and my friends were there all the time, not necessarily seeing shows, but playing pinball and bowling, because they had a little 6 pinball machine, little corner, which was incredible.
Right.
And just as you see me drift into it for a second,
I could see you. The scene was fading into your head. It was a cinematic moment right there.
Good.
Yeah.
Those are great times. Incredible. And to play there, a few months later, we played in June there or July, something like that, after we played with Fugazi for
our first show, 1990.
Yeah, exactly. And that place is still around, even though they changed the name.
Yeah.
Got to make things out of brick, and you can't sell to Walmart, although I'm sure they came with big giant money.
Yeah,
we're going to ruin your place. But Ranch Bowl was so cool. It was a radio station, in a gig, in a bowling alley, and an arcade, and it had beach volleyball in the back. It had a restaurant of some ilk or another. It was all these things. Saw Fishbone there.
Yeah.
Played with Fishbone. Oh, was supposed to play with Fishbone there.
Wow.
They didn't like us because we didn't have any black guys on in the band. But that's okay.
That's okay. Fishbone.
Totally true. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
But Chili Peppers, I can totally see that influence in there in the base, because they changed the game in terms of what was possible with punk, and adding. They were one of the people that took the aesthetic of punk and the dangerous sensibilities and added the funk into it. And so that really opens the door for so many other types of...
I want to party with these guys.
Yeah.
Right? That was that.
Totally.
Right? Where are you guys going? I'll be there.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's going to be hilarious. And we'll have stories to tell for decades.
Were you 100%? Were you raised in a home that was strict or religious or kind of like wanted to keep you away from the wildness of life? Or were you did you kind of have, you and your brother have free reign to go see bands and shows and stay out late?
Right. A little bit. Not any, there was no strictness. There was no religion. Thank God. But
I was stuck in it.
But I can't wait to talk about that. Let's do that. But my dad's a chaplain, but my parents divorced when I was 2. And yeah, I grew up in a like non-religious house, which was great. My mom, I was actually the mom that would call the elementary school and tell them to tone down the Christmas music because it was getting a little too Jesus-y.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I know. I was like, thank you, Mom.
Your mom sounds amazing.
Joan forever, totally. But there was no shows in Omaha.
Yeah.
And if there were, they seemed terribly far away.
Yeah.
Even though it was probably the same distance I just did.
Yeah.
20 minutes away.
But at that time,
without a car and everything, and just mom was working, stepdad was working. Shows seemed really far away. So we didn't really get to see too many of them. But once we did, it got going.
Yeah.
We saw Smashing Pumpkins. My mom dropped me off at that show. And when she dropped me off, they were like getting out of their van after doing whatever, changing clothes, just showing up. Couldn't really tell. And my mom was like, "You want to be a musician?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wanted to." She was like, "Are you?" She's like, "Check them out." She's like, "I don't know if that's so." They look like ramen, ramen and light beer.
That's Billy wearing paisley shirts, very 70s probably at that time, right?
Skinny as a rail, eating like shit.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter. It was all rock and roll.
Yeah.
That was a great show. We played with them that night. We opened up for them. There's a poster, whatever, little board around somewhere. Yeah.
I want to look that up.
And when we played with them, we had gotten to the point where we had built up an audience, and they came into town as nobodies.
Wow.
Gish was nothing.
Yeah, I didn't get the attention that
I heard
it.
We were listening to it. I was getting ready for the show by paying attention, and I had seen the video on MTV, and I loved the direction. That's my kind of filmmaking. Blurry, fast,
very art school.
Cool. Run with the camera. Open the aperture. All that. I was like, oh, you're killing me. So I loved them no matter what. And what is it? Chamberlain.
Yeah.
God,
Jimmy Chamberlain.
God damn it.
His drumming.
I want to play with him so bad.
He is such a good drummer.
Shout out Jimmy.
He's so good. He's amazing to watch. What a beast.
I mean, I'm the bass player. Ask anybody who's like air drumming. My sister instrument. I just love it.
I mean, bassist, that lockstep that you have to be in with the rhythm, the section is so key.
It's got to be part of it.
Yeah.
And I've heard Steve Harris talk about it from Iron Maiden, being like, if I would, I think I'd be a drummer if I wasn't a bass player. And I guess that's probably what it takes to be a good bass player or drummer, is to find that relationship. And honestly, when I found Chad and we were in his basement, a few months before the first show, maybe half a year, something like that.
Yeah.
Just playing our own, because he was dating the sister of my girlfriend, or I was dating the sister of his girlfriend, however you want to see it.
Yeah.
And they were like, you guys should get together. And we actually knew S.A. too, mutually as well at that time. They were Chad and S.A. were college roommates, but Chad brought me in, our girlfriends brought me in, and we played Fight Like a Brave. It was the first thing we played together.
Rad.
And he had a drum set right next to his waterbed. Because
that's awesome. Because waterbeds were a thing back then. You don't even see those
December anymore. December 89, something like
amazing.
That. It's incredible.
My brother had a waterbed too.
He played it so good. He was doing all those ghost notes. It was so loud. I knew the part. He was like, oh wow, this kid can play. And that was the thing. Like, S.A. was I think he knew S.A. knew me because my brother. They were like in the same class more or less, and. They're like, he's great, yeah, but he's super young. I was like 15. Right. But I had been playing my ass off. I just, practice.
Yeah,
I just saw a video today. How do you want to play, more emotionally? Practice. How do you want to play faster? practice,
Practice.
like how do you want to, just all those things, just keep playing.
Yeah.
So I'm doing an hour and a half every day.
Yeah.
Playing covers upstairs. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and being a bass player, I mean, for those of us who are in bands and have played in bands, you know that there's almost like two paths you go. You're either the guy who's just, going to pick up the bass and fill in the song, or you're going to take the instrument seriously and learn how to progress in it. And so you start at 11, and at this point in time, you're 15. So even to be playing the bass from 11 to 15, it's like you're going to be one of those bass players that's like, I want to try to do what some of the greats are doing, what's interesting, what's out of pocket, and that adds so much to what 311 is.
It was so much fun. It was great because the guys, even to this day, are really super open to my interpretations of what we come up with.
Right.
And live, I'm not really going to hold back probably as much as I should. Certainly when I was a kid, now, even recently, we're playing some of the older songs, and Chad, our drummer, he's like, stop playing so many fills. And I was like, well, that's how I was playing it when I was a kid. And he was like, well, you were out of tune, when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it, make it right. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. And then, I started serving the song a little bit more. And I think there's a difference for, there's a spectrum of player that wants to be known for being a player. But I love songs so much.
Totally.
That's why I picked the music that I picked. And that's why it's so important to this day for me, like I said, to just go upstairs and play just almost anything.
Yeah.
New, old, whatever, outside of my genre. I don't really like the band that much. Like, it's always anything kind of country adjacent was always something for me to avoid.
Me too.
But it's fun to play. The songwriting's incredible, and like Ophelia, to play that bass line, I'm like, oh wow. Like, they're doing this. It's like a country swing kind of blues thing. I'm like, wow. Like, so as a 51-year-old, I'm like a little bit more open to even expanding my horizons now. And I love that. It's just makes the world a better place. I'm actually in contact with one of the guys that I play his covers. A guy named Greg Fairweather in Norway. Mm-hmm. Shout out.
Nice.
He's so cool. He plays everything. He plays Parliament to funk and rock and and he's so good at it. I'm like, what do you like? What's the story? And then we're like pen pals now. So
That's
it's
cool.
Super cool. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's really similar relationship. Like, I see you over there. Fucking killing it. Like, whatever. Like, we're gonna swim in the same waters. Maybe someday we'll do something together. But it's just so cool to see what you can do with music and personality and the internet, I suppose, and in this world, and what are you going to do at the time?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like when, what's the stink you're going to leave behind when you're done?
Yeah.
What are you going to uncover? What's your next passion going to be?
Yeah.
Microtonal music.
Yeah, or like Engine de Poitrine
is on the rise.
Yeah, I know.
And I want to bring it up.
I'm glad you did, because I want to talk.
No, and it's great. It's fascinating. Of course, like, it's kind of swept the whole world.
Yeah.
In that way that music can, and the internet, and with time, and being unique. Holy shit. It's like, but I'm not, like, I don't have the greatest ear, and it's not from too much music, I don't think. But I'm not the opposite of perfect pitch. I'm not atonal, but I'm somewhere in between. I'm just kind of loose with it in my head, my cognition, and I'm okay with it. It really doesn't matter, because I know where I'm at architecturally. Like,
Right.
I learned violin when I was 6, and they taught me Suzuki method, which is really like a location. Like, your, D is here, and you're going to play D, but it wasn't like learning the fingerboard on the violin. So, and I've brought that over, and I did good in theory and whatever, but I'm just now really applying it as a older person and long-term player, and it's fun. It's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
Where am I going with this?
Engine de Poitrine.
Oh yeah. So to hear them, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's pro move right there.
Yeah.
To hear them grab people with microtones and really play into it, to dig into like, well, we're doing this, like, wow, it's so cool. And in my head, it's not, I don't hear it as that strange. I wonder how a normal person, whatever the fuck that is, you know what I mean, hears it, because as a musician that's fascinated by unique things, and it's not going to turn me off, you know what I mean? And my takeaway as I walk myself to it is that I love that the world has embraced this. Yeah. Because for me, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. And I'm fully surprised, like it's fucking wild, like the kids say, and I love that about the kids, is that it makes any sense to anybody else but them and us nerds.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I love, so I'm glad it naturally came up as a conversation, because I just had a realization about that group. So obviously when it hit, anybody who's a music freak, it got sent to me hundreds of times, like, check this out. Right. And I was immediately like, oh, cool. These guys from Quebec, it's microtonal, it's experimental, but we've been around the block. We've seen other artists do this, you know, like the jokes and the memes have been, you know, somebody sent me one where it was like, hey, do you have Angine de Poitrine? And somebody grabbed Frizzle Fry by Primus. They put dots all over it and it said, here it is. And that was the joke, right? Yes. Oh, Primus, whatever. Right. So I enjoyed it. The tickets sold out. You know, people were going crazy. And I was like, I do enjoy it. I think it's cool. I can't imagine myself relaxing on an afternoon listening to it in my headphones, but I love what they're doing. But then a notion crossed my path while I was scrolling, and it was this guy saying, this is the fight, the battle against AI.
Right. Yes.
Have you seen that? So,
yes.
Yeah. And so I was like,
winning this.
Yes, and it made me love it even more, because it was humans going, it's these guys, whether that was their intention or not, it was literally going, how can we disguise our human form to look like something that doesn't exist? And how can I carve frets into my guitar that aren't even on there? So I'm going to play a note that the AI can't predict.
Over and over and over and over and over too. Right.
I mean, I just thought,
make these runs and write them together in the harmonies.
I immediately thought, this is cool. Yeah. This is cool. This is the beginning of a new era and generation of artists that are going to say, I want to do anything that the computer won't see coming.
Right.
And that is like, yes,
and
this is exciting,
and watch it be huge.
Yeah,
right. In the whatever lightning strike kind of luck of things, but I don't, they were kind of destined for it, as being the pioneers in the way that they're doing it. I mean, I think of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, of course. Totally. And I think of other bands. I think of the instruments, because I've known they've been out there. I think of the sitar, I think of the fretless bass. Mm-hmm. I know these sounds. Right. But the organization and comprehension, and then just, whatever, the bursting forth of ideas was just mind-blowing. Really is. Yeah. Super cool. It's like, and it's a two-piece. And I've got a looper. Yeah. And I can do it all right, but it's mind-blowing.
With his bare foot. Yeah. Just down there doing these controls with his toes.
That's hard.
I was like, that's not easy.
Yeah, that's a very difficult to do. That hurts. It's unnecessary. The whole thing is a little unnecessary. And if that's not the point, then I don't know what is. But it's that same thing. It's flipping it up, everything on its lid. It's no sellout, totally fucking come original. I hope they have a really long career. I can't see it lasting a super long time. No, probably not. But I'd love to be wrong.
I'd love to be wrong too.
And they had an album out before these songs came out, right? Yeah, before the KEXP performance, right, up in Washington. I think that's what I've seen as the breakthrough, was that performance was so good that people started started streaming it and sharing the performance around. But I saw that they had an album out before, like these songs, but whatever, it's all happening pretty fast. Yeah. But I think they've got enough of a foundation. They can survive for as long as they keep their heads on straight, their paper mache masks on straight.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's amazing. Like to 20 years from now, still grabbing the mask, or maybe they'll reinvent themselves every single time, and we'll see different artistic expressions.
Watch it be Daft Punk.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Watch it be those two exact humans. Right.
That would be so funny if they reveal reveal one day. We're like, it's Daft Punk.
Right. They got the motorcycle helmets on
That's
underneath
amazing.
those masks.
That is so cool.
Everybody just faints.
It is so cool. I was going to say, so something that occurred to me recently about 311, and where I am at my age now at 47 is obviously when you get older, you begin to look at things in a very different way. And I find myself with children, with growing older, I'm more looking to the importance of love, presence, being in the moment, grounded with kind of like me and the universe and what it all means. And life starts to change. You know, who I was as a teenager was somebody who was struggling with angst and depression and emotion. And I needed my Smiths and I needed my Pixies and I needed all that stuff. Totally. But what's so cool and interesting is that 311 has always been this very life affirming, love, connected band. And I find that to be so much more, I understand that so much more now than I ever did before. And it really is a testament to how you've built such a community of people that love this band. And you have 311 Day and you have cruise ships and there are people that are, and it's because they love the human connection through you guys. And that's something I want to be a part of.
You're a part of it. You are.
You know what I mean?
You're totally a part of it. They find out that they love each other.
Yeah.
You know, through the music connection. Yeah. You know, coming to shows, being online. The connections can happen so easily. You know, when they're authentic, they're immediate, or they can be.
Yeah.
And that's what's kept us around for so long. That's why we have 14 albums. That's why we've done, travel in the world. That's why we were down in South America playing with Limp Bizkit in December, which was incredible.
Incredible.
And to see what they've built is super fun. But to be asked to go on a run with a band like that and to have an audience down there that, I never expected to go down to South America. It barely crossed my mind. Just, of course I would want to as a adventurer and everything, but geez, how many opportunities do you have to do that as a touring musician? So just to be able to pull that off within the last 15 years or so has been amazing. And this last run was really special, and it did reflect back to all these years. And it is like that's who we are. We love, we're going to try and solve problems, that are going to come up. We're going to do our best about being honest. We're going to try and get better through the process. Yeah. And we're going to let everyone know that we're all going through something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's of course, like nowadays, those are pretty common understandings that if you want to enjoy yourself in this life, that's what you kind of shoot for. You got to pick yourself up. You got to find something to fall in love with, even if it kills you. Yeah. Which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. And it's Bukowski. Yeah. Right? That was Bukowski. Yeah. But yeah, like us being honest about being happy or putting a positive bend on things, not necessarily being happy, but our natural state is positivity. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that. There's been hands thrown. Sure. There's been hard words, Of course. I've wanted to replace everybody in the band, including myself.
Of course, 36 years.
Maybe even especially myself, what I mean? So and if you don't, like, what kind of dream are you having? Like, you could have some ideal situation where nothing ever went wrong, but that doesn't sound like reality, given all the relationships I've been in and have had and I'm looking forward to, extending. It's like that trouble, it's that self-reflection, the static that comes up is something that you've got to work out. It's not really the problem that's in between the two people or whatever entities are debating what are the other. It's usually an internal struggle, and I think we're good at explaining that in music, and with S.A. and Nick's just intelligence and honesty. I think they've been really good at letting people know that it's okay to, say this is hard. It's okay to ask for help. Yes. It's okay to struggle in through all of that. And it will, it will get better. It has to.
It has to.
And if it doesn't, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's such a bleak place to be, to think that. And it changed me a lot, because I grew up really angsty, I think, too. And it's tough finding out who I was and who I wanted to be, and leaving home so young. I was here at 17.
Yeah.
It was pretty tough. But being here with the guys, of course, made it easier. It was nothing I could have done on my own. I'm just not that person. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I appreciate your kind words. Would be my my end to all that. And it's like I said, it's just an authentic thing. And it was pretty difficult to be like that coming out in the 90s, with everything being so bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just who we were.
Yeah. Struggling to make it in an industry that wants you to be this one thing, and you're trying to do your own, and people have their opinions, and you guys lived in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
I also lived in Van Nuys for a brief stint.
That's so funny. Yeah. We recorded Grassroots in the house. I was like 1335. I had 5 numbers, so something like that on Sunny Slope, like Sunny Slope and Bessemer. Yeah, right by the City College down there, the Valley College. Yeah, and had the coolest neighbors in the world. We must have been playing 8 hours a fucking day, and they were cool about it. We recorded it on an ADAT, which was a VHS machine back in the day. Incredible. We went to Circuit City, the one with the UFO crashed into it. Right when it had opened. Yeah. And bought stacks of VHS tapes. Amazing. And recorded Grassroots on it.
And that's how you did it?
Yeah. So it's like, it's pretty good tape, like solid 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever, when you be the judge. So there's a lot of room for the tracks on there, because it was, it's going to tape, right? And tape needs space. You only, if you're using a 1/16 inch, like a cassette tape, it'd be really hard to get good sounds out of it. I mean, Ween. He's wearing a Ween shirt. Ween did it. Yeah. Ween alert. Yeah. Ween did it famously, and fidelity wasn't their thing. Yeah. Who gives a shit? Right? Yeah. Let's get these ideas down, and if all we have is $300 to get a Tascam 4-track tape, because they were buying cassettes and recording onto them. Yeah. It's fucking heroes. Yeah. Like, this is coming out, right? Yeah. We're going to find a way. If I have to rub sticks together and organize Beatles into this orchestra, I'm going to fucking do it. Right? I love it. I don't care how much coffee it takes.
Tenacity. We're gonna just will not stop.
Absolutely. And I love that so much about any lo-fi project, but Ween's been like heroes since I was a kid as well.
I love it. So,
probably the band that I've seen the most too,
really
live. Yeah,
really, I've yet to see them live.
Seen them probably a dozen times or so.
Speaking of these early days, you graced me with something pretty amazing. So for those listening, this is the first ever.
Yeah, first single released. Yeah.
So what year would this be?
That'd be 93.
93?
Yeah.
Do You Right?
Yeah. Do You Right, first single.
I'm holding this in my hands for those listening right now. I'm holding the first single, the 311 releases in 93.
We released it on cassette and CD, which was still a little exotic.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Yeah. This is such a cool thing to have in my collection.
I want to challenge all the guests to bring something cool to Jacob's house.
You heard it here first. I love it.
Peanut challenge. I don't refer to myself in any kind of person.
I love it.
But
I love it.
I think this should be a thing. Like, I was kind of assuming it was.
Well, you're the first one to kick off the 100th episode in the studio, in the Waterproof Records studio. And you've done me right and do you right with this.
We made fun of that sticker for so long. Yeah. We knew that, like, whoever's in control of that, the A&R or product people, we were like, come on, please talk to us before you put.
I'm gonna read to you what it says on the front. It says, warning: people suffering from funkagruva should consult their physician before listening. I love it. That should be on a shirt.
It kind of works now, but as kids, we were like, please don't. What the fuck are you putting on?
I love it. But to close out my point about the community thing, I think that what I'm experiencing is that I didn't pursue a career in anything that I'm doing right now, this music stuff. I've been a fan since I was a kid, as you can see. Yeah. But I am finding now, ever since this happened, a tremendous amount of community is opening up around me because I'm going to see more live music than I've ever in my life. Because for 20 years, I was just a guy in LA struggling to whether I'm going to be a comedian or I'm going to be a screenwriter or whatever it is, and nothing's working out, and really not building any sense of community. And ever since this happened, it's blown the doors down to I'm at shows, I'm with people like me,
right?
And they're everywhere. And so when I am with you and I find out we're not that far apart at age, you have an older brother, we're talking about the things we grew up with. They're so similar.
Van Nuys.
That it's a thrill to have it because at this point in my life, I'm like, it's all about human interaction.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Because, we're not meant to be solitary.
We're not meant to be solitary.
Yeah. A little bit is probably good for you.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. You got to take moments from time to time.
You'll hone your craft, but you come into your own in those relationships and interacting with people. I mean, I went to Highland Park Brewing yesterday because they're celebrating their 12th anniversary. I love Highland Park Brewing. And it's like my time travel place. Like if I could go back in time and buy it and build up exactly what they have, I wouldn't change a fucking thing.
Yeah.
I would do it because it just feels so good. They play the best music. They got wonderful beer. Their food program is just amazing. But my point is like just sitting down and talking with somebody like about music, about traveling, like just to be able to relate in any kind of way, much less an extensive like tapestry of coincidences and all these things that bring us together. It's amazing. It really is. And if you miss out on those like glimmers in life, and that's how my wife kind of puts it, and it can be anything. It can be a gust of wind.
Right.
At the right time. Yeah. And through the right follicles.
Yeah.
But literally, I've been really watching the birds lately. Everything's so green out. I love being in Northeast Los Angeles. I've been going into the mountains.
Yeah, all the time.
Taking the truck up there. It's so much fun. Trying to find a puddle to get dirty in. Just little stupid things. So easy. I feel so much more myself when I come back down the hill from Angeles. It's just, and then music and food, of course. And being with people, it really brings it all together because then you can talk about all these things, like all these subjects, vulnerability, honesty, humor, darkness, and the struggle, and religious or not, Midwest, East Coast, West Coast. Like we covered so many bases. You're going to be unraveling this for decades.
I'll be writing a book about this.
I mean, like it's just amazing. So we're doing like Shaky Knees a couple of years ago in Atlanta. Fucking incredible festival.
I've heard such good things.
Please call us back. Right?
Yeah.
And we're playing, and I'm Tim Mahoney for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Or I'm Nick.
Yeah,
but I'm looking over. I'm playing bass actually, and I look over and fucking Jack Black's eating a peanut butter sandwich on the side of the stage while we're playing like our last song, and I'm dying because he's like this. He's like
just loving it.
Paper plate, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, peanut butter and jelly everywhere.
That's incredible.
In the beard a little bit, not in any bad way,
but
in the acceptable amount.
In a Jack Black way.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
right.
For sure,
you got a beard, you got a jelly sandwich.
Yeah,
he doesn't give a fuck, and it's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, man, it was so cool seeing you on stage. He's like, you guys are great, man. And taking a picture, with someone that I've looked up to for, nice long time, ever since the HBO Tenacious D.
Totally.
Like, cause that's all those things. Again, it's relationships, it's struggling, finding out who you are. It's you got to eat shit every once in a while, part of being in a band. You think you're this, but you're not. The Flight of the Conchords thing. Where are they? They could save the world right now.
Right. I love them.
Tenacious and
oh my God.
Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
Right? Super group.
I think Flight of the Conchords is coming through LA in May. I think
I saw that.
Yeah. So I think I have to be there for sure.
Gosh,
I love them.
Yeah. I love humor. I think if I wouldn't have been, not that you asked.
I did ask. Where would you have been? Where would you have been?
If I wouldn't have been in music, I mean, you said it. I love comedy. Kids in the Hall, Saturday Night Live, it's always in my head.
Totally.
Something or other. Funny musicians,
Yeah.
People who don't take themselves seriously. Frank Zappa, Ween, whomever. It's just a breath of fresh air when that happens. And then movies, right? And like you were saying, like screenwriting, movies take you to another world, you know. If you haven't seen Hamnet, go see Hamnet.
I've yet to see it. I hear it's great.
Go see Hamnet.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Bring the tissues.
Okay.
Yeah. It's rough.
I cry at a lot of films.
Good.
For sure. For
Good.
sure.
You're
In touch with that part
you're in
of
touch with
myself.
yourself. It's a beautiful thing. I was just going to say exactly that. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And we saw it like in a theater, and it was like in public. It was like, oh, I know there's cameras in here. I've seen the videos, the groping videos.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I don't really care. I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever cut that part
No.
off, you know?
No.
Seeing Flea do interviews while he's promoting his solo album, and then the Hillel doc, just getting a face full of Flea recently, and I love it. I really do. He gets emotional so quick. And it's amazing because he's feeling it, right?
he's
It's so
feeling it.
real. It's so real. I love that.
I do too.
I wouldn't have it any other way. That's why we're here.
Absolutely.
It's yeah. If you got to feel it.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling it on this world, then you need to go do some kind of reset.
Yeah.
And that's easier than you think.
Yeah.
I think it really is.
Absolutely.
I think we're numb from all the information, certainly bleak and grim. It's easy to get mad about everything. I'm seeing musicians turn the love up, and I think it's a really great thing. I also like when people speak their political views in music. I think it's wonderful. I'm looking at you, grandson. He's fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Just flying the flag perfectly. Oh my gosh. If you don't know, check him out. He'll piss you off. and yeah, we need that.
That's what art is for.
Why wouldn't we have
You
that?
have to shake things up for sure.
So it could be so boring, and that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
Like if you just want to play music, you know, that's fine. It's a little difficult in these trying times to just do that,
Right.
But I can see that can be okay. Like people should have an escape valve. You know, I put up a post of my cat a few days ago. I don't know if you saw it or not, but someone was like, "Why aren't you talking about the Nebraska wildfires?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not the news, right? Like,
Yeah.
you want to come to the, you know, if you want me to be the news, maybe I could be, you know, but I don't want to be the news. Like, that's not what I'm here for. This is a picture of my cat."
Totally.
Right? And of course I care. It's like, "Oh, you don't care about where you come from." Like, God damn, man. I'm not talking about Sudan. I'm not talking about the Middle East. I'm not talking about shit. I'm talking about my cat.
This is
Right?
I'm faced with this problem very often.
I bet.
All the time
Oh, yeah.
because you know what, I'm a comedy escape. I'm a place for people to feel better about the world, and on the few times that I have, because I felt compelled to, because I am a human being who feels deeply for the plight of my fellow humans.
Sure.
You make a post and people get so mad and they fly off the handle, and you're like, look, when I look back on my life, I have to stand for things.
God
you know,
damn it.
it's
Yes.
so hard.
And as white guys,
I know.
right? And
I know.
and I don't,
White.
and
100%.
Someone, you know, and I don't mind saying it. I don't love saying it. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
But white guys need to white guys need to speak up. You know,
Yeah, 100%.
We can't just be escape valves. I love the comedy side route. I love taking things light. It's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, people should know where you stand.
They got to know
in these
where I
times.
stand.
And I think that, you know, not to get into it in any kind of depth, but yeah, I think just speaking the truth, whatever side of it you're on, right? As a privileged person, we need to be honest about what's going on, and even if it's tough, take that heat.
Yeah.
That's okay, because other people are taking way fucking more heat.
Way worse.
These are just ideas, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it put up like, wow, you're scared to like talk honestly. Like people are dying.
Right.
Right.
Right. And what's the worst that's going to happen? Unfollow, mean comment.
You're going to get some
I can
shit.
handle that.
Yeah.
I can
right.
handle
Exactly.
that. It's
Yeah,
not
so
that big of a deal.
I think we're going to get through it. I really honestly do.
I do too.
I do.
We've weathered worse storms.
I
than
have
this.
my doubts just because it is now, right? It's so very now, and it's so erratic knowing that the personalities involved.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so lean on music, right? Lean on comedy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It can only, you know, you can only be so in the thick of it for so long. You can only be, some people are honest all the time about it.
Right.
I hope they're not, stressing themselves out.
Right.
I think those mouthpieces, the people that are in the trenches trying to get us information, that's as good a work as you can be doing right now. But yeah, we need levity and truth.
Yes.
And we'll find some balance in it, one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people that have taken up the torch to do a certain thing, and bless them for it, to be the ones who deliver that information. And it's something that I personally couldn't do all the time. You know what I mean? I'm just not built for it. I'm built for joy. I'm built for laughter. I'm built to kind of make people smile. And so that's where I've got to stay for the bulk of the time. But when push comes to shove, also got to say, but hey, I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
So
no, I like that. And that can be enough. There's so many ways of fighting for what you believe in.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be full frontal. You don't have to use the totality of your platform to turn into some space of truth.
Totally.
Because that goes haywire left and right. I think a lot of the people that are in the dickheadosphere, which I just made up.
You heard it here first.
Mostly
mostly
men.
Yeah.
Probably started off with some good intentions, like the contingency coming out of Austin, who will remain nameless.
Yeah.
Because there's a number of them.
Yeah.
I think probably came from a good place,
Yeah.
In some kind of way, like, oh, something's going on. Like, let's figure it out,
Yeah.
and then you get so into it that it gets distorted.
It's just a vacuum, right?
Right.
It's like I know exactly what you're saying. We won't go into that, but it's his peers and colleagues have said him from 10 years ago or 15 years ago is a totally different person, So that gives you an idea of what we're dealing with.
Yeah. And I think whatever biases and maybe not so well thought out ideas will come out if you're going to be exploring these mysteries over and over again. So you see who people are, and they expose themselves and you're like, wow.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then people get emboldened and then people start apologizing for, pushing a narrative. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
And I guess it's okay. That's just how it goes. But I'd rather, let people know who we are in the way that we're comfortable doing, speak up for what's right, but not have that be, the cape I'm wearing every day. I can't be that dude either.
Yeah.
I love, like whatever, like there's got to be some kind of an honesty in escapism in music and film and comedy and relationships. It can't just be vapid escapism.
Right.
And it can't just be cold, hard truth too.
Right.
So we're going to find some nuance in the personalities that we hang out with and resonate with ourselves and change as we get older and all these things. It's amazing. I love this world we're in. It is really tough.
It is tough.
We're in a shitty, difficult time. I feel for all the parents out there, especially the brand new parents. Holy shit.
Right.
And all over the world. I really do. I've been to a lot of places and I've seen lots of people, and I see parents and people in relationships and just humans in general, but especially parents, being the optimists out there. Like I want the best for this. And I can see that in the Austin contingency and the people that have lost their minds, trying to find the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's something about it. That's their journey. And I can judge them in whatever way or another. Like I've gotten to this point and I've heard it said before, it's certainly not an original idea, but like, I'm never going to want someone not to eat. Right. I don't give a shit who you are. I want you to eat no matter what. I'm just not going to be at your table.
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
I am not going to sit at somebody's table. There's some bands that I will not fucking play with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can imagine.
There's no fucking way.
By all means, keep playing music.
Sure.
Keep doing what you're doing.
No, right.
But I don't want to share the stage.
Yeah, right. I love that.
Yeah.
There's no way. Right? Hell no. And I'm sure people feel that way about us, maybe. You know, if they do or don't, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But if they do, I think it's not going to bother me. I think it's great. Have your passion, have your ideals, stand up, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to come through management someday. I know it is because there's so many opportunities.
There
you know,
are, right?
And
Especially now.
And you play with tons of people. You play with, you know, all kinds of bands, especially in a band like 311. You know, like I said, we were out with Limp Bizkit and Ecca Vandal in South America. And if you don't know Ecca Vandal, you know, check out.
I'm not familiar.
Oh man,
okay.
check out Ecca Vandal.
Okay,
Yeah.
I definitely will.
Oh my gosh,
will.
it was like Slay Squad, which is a like a hardcore black metal band from Inglewood.
Wow.
Fucking awesome show, unbelievable. And then Ecca Vandal, and then we played, and then it was Bullet for My Valentine.
Amazing.
And then Limp, and it was it was a great show.
That sounds fantastic.
Stunning show. So, and it brought out all kinds of people. It was as diverse as it could be in South America, which is hella diverse.
Yeah.
My Spanish went out the window as soon as I got to Brazil, of course. But man, what a joy to be able to play at all and to play new places as someone that's been touring for as long as we have. And then just to play with all these different bands and to be inspired by bands that were inspired by us, to have that wraparound, that turnstile kind of relationship
absolutely.
is really important. We were waiting for them. We knew there was going to be a band that was like, not that they're really upfront about it, but they've told us enough times, and Nick and Brendan are close. And, you know, shout out to Brendan's dad, who I know is recovering from some fucking crazy shit. Dark story. But I knew a band like Turnstile. I didn't think it was going to be a hardcore band.
Yeah.
Would be like, you know, we love 311. We grew up on 311. In fact, if you listen to the song, you might hear a little bit. I'm like, oh wow, like that kind of shit. And then sharing a stage with them. I think we played with them. I think it was at Shaky Knees as well. Speaking of, you know, like I said, just mind-blowingly good festivals. It's just so sweet to play long enough, have relationships, and I don't know, be good in the room, because that's part of it. You know, whatever creative art or whatever nuts and bolts job, you got to be good in the room. You know, whatever, you got to show up on time, you got to be friendly, you got to be able to be flexible, work with people. But I don't know, like, you never think that's going to happen. You know, the traveling, the being around this long as an entity, and to have music come out that is how people heard you. Right. You know, and what they're doing with it, how they don't want to sound like you. Like we didn't want to sound like our influences, but we're nothing without them. Right. You know, and I love that. That's so cool, so right? Cool. Yeah. I'm sure writers feel that way too. Like, oh, I had to write this book because of this. Maya Angelou, right? Yeah. It's just like this just came out.
Art creates more art, and it just continues on.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Try it, right?
Yeah.
Anything.
Agreed. Try it.
Do it.
Do it.
Fall down, fail. Yeah, build it up. Make it great. Be honest. Yeah.
Well, I literally feel like this time has flown by so much. I've kept you longer than I thought I would, but I've loved every moment of it. Before I say goodbye, what's on deck for 311 the rest of this year? Are you guys playing shows?
Yes, we're going out with Dirty Heads on a co-headline, which is great. So we don't have to play late every night, and and it's cool because I know we got a little bit used to that, opening up for Limp Bizkit on this last run, and it's nice doing those earlier shows. It really is. As a practical thing, it is. There's something about it, and I love setting up bands for that challenge. I mean, we've had bands wanting to flip places with us because we finish so strong. So for Dirty Heads to go on after us, they're going to play their asses off. You know, they're going to have to.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah, and they're wholly 1,000,000% capable of it, and they're going to do the same thing for us.
Yeah,
we're going to set them up for a win. We're going to set them up for a win.
That's amazing.
Did I say that twice?
I think so.
I think so.
The best way.
You know what I mean.
But thank you, Peanut.
Yeah, anytime.
I appreciate it, man. It is just an absolute pleasure to have you on my turf, and that you brought me this. And I can't wait to see you guys play again live, because I had so much fun at Acoustic Christmas. So I'm looking forward to next time there's a show I can get to.
Us in Portugal, the Man, right?
Yeah. Oh, this be so fun.
God, what a great band.
So fun.
Shout out to John Gorley.
Yes, John Gorley. Thank you, man.
Hell yeah. Anytime, Jacob.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
That was awesome. Honestly, I did not want that conversation to end. I could have talked to him for hours, days. I felt like we were just so organically jumping from conversation to conversation and covering the terrain of so much about life and his music and inspiration and our families and so on. So I am so happy with how that conversation went down today on the show. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you were first time listening to Waterproof Records, that is what you can expect from this show. Me inviting guests on or just talking about bands and albums that I like, but creating a cool, positive, music loving space. I always like to remind people that I'm a music lover, not a music critic. That is not what I'm about. And this conversation today was exactly what I wanted, which was uplifting and inspiring. And even though we are facing some very big challenges in the world today, we're doing our best to rise up, stand for what we believe in, and have a good time and celebrate and find each other so that we can lean into comedy and music and one another to get through the hardest things in life. So thank you again to Aaron Wills, Peanut, and 311, rockin' band, amazing band, and just so grateful that he joined me for my 100th episode. And thank you for being here with me, and come back, will you? Tune in next time when I will have another in-studio guest. And once again, thank you to Pantheon Podcasts. They're the reason that my podcast is growing and being heard by thousands and thousands of people around the world, because honestly, they are the biggest name in music podcasts. And so I'm grateful to be part of Pantheon Podcasts, just a little slice of the big old pie. And also don't forget to use distrokid.com/VIP/waterproof. Save yourself that 30% off. You got to save yourself money. I'm giving you that link. So put your music on there and save 30%. Okay, everybody, that was it. Fireworks, fanfare, woohoo, celebration. We did it. 100 episodes of Waterproof Records. Here's to many more to come. I couldn't do it without you, so thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Things are gonna change. I can feel it.
If this gonna be that kind of party, I'm gonna
Waterproof Records. Waterproof